Hi there, it's Nicole here today for Lawn Fawn, and I'm excited to share a dimensional project with you, perfect for the holidays. This is a great time to go ahead and get those projects done before the busyness of the Christmas season. This is a tiny box tree advent calendar. So the boxes are formed in circle shapes and stacked on top of each other in different layers to form a tree shape, yet all the little boxes still open. So I think instead of little treats or whatever, because the boxes are pretty small, I think little pieces of paper rolled up with a prompt for each day would be really fun. I did not go ahead and do that yet, but I think it would be super easy to just go in and print out a whole bunch of your family's favorite activities. Maybe it's certain books you read, things you can do for others. Go look at Christmas lights, visit Santa, whatever it is. I think you could roll up little pieces of paper you've printed out, would be super easy, tuck them in each box, and then you can open them every day. Lots of ways to do this. It's kind of whatever is a tradition for your family. What I did was die cut a bunch of little boxes here, and I even die cut boxes for the base. So the base boxes, everything is die cut using the tiny gift box die. That keeps it really uniform. And these were all die cut from the fantastic wood grain knock on wood papers. Couldn't be any easier or any better. Then all of the boxes for the tree, I knew that I really wanted to do an elegant advent calendar. I tend to be drawn to cream and gold for whatever reason when I'm doing paper crafting holiday projects. I would say probably 80% of the time. And I went ahead and chose a cream cardstock, a champagne glitter cardstock from Simon Says Stamp, and then from a past Lawn Fawn release, the Bokeh in the Snow collection had fantastic cream pattern papers, and I'm a paper hoarder, so I went ahead and went back through my stash. You guys probably are too. And I pulled the cream papers from this collection, and I'm going to mix and match those boxes to create the tree. Now, I don't normally do this when I'm creating a dimensional project. I don't usually use liquid glue. However, I did not want these to come apart. I used a combination of either Ranger Multi-Matte Medium, and I'm also going to use some Tonic Studio Craft Tacky Glue, mostly because my Ranger Multi-Matte Medium started to run out, and I was having to squeeze the bottle so hard it was hurting my hand. So I started using the Tonic Craft Glue. Either way. Then to adhere the boxes together, you're going to need some little pieces of paper. These are all 1 inch by 1.5 inch pieces, scored down the center longwise, and then you glue each of the little tabs and glue the boxes together. Now, I made a little mistake here, and I actually made the brown ring of boxes the base of the tree. And when I stacked all my boxes together the next morning, I realized what I'd done. I really needed this to be a smaller ring and then start with the fuller part for the tree because it looked kind of funny. So I didn't redo this. I simply cut through because the glue had well dried. I let it sit all the way overnight. You wouldn't have to, but this was kind of a project done over the course of a couple days. And I went ahead and just trimmed one, actually 2 out of this. So my base is 5 boxes, not 7. I will give you a rundown of what each ring of the tree is. Here, you can see that little piece of paper is what connects these, and it does make a nice ring. So I kept it in here because I really wanted you to see how awesome that little ring of boxes is and how easy it is to create. I'm going to go ahead and do the cream boxes now. What the layers are. So the tree base there are 5 boxes. Then the base of the tree is 7, and then you just take away 1 box for each layer till you get to 1. So it's 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and then there isn't a 2. You just put 1 on top of that final layer that has 3 boxes. And the one on top is not going to open. Technically, it probably could open. In fact, here's a look at all of my layers. This is the next day. It could probably open if you want to, but it isn't actually part of the advent calendar, nor is the base of my tree. You could make that into boxes if you wanted to. However, the rest of the boxes really form 25, so there was no need for those additional boxes to be used for the base of the tree. Now I'm using little dots of glue. In fact, I messed up here and didn't put the glue in the right place for my 3rd layer. But all I am doing is kind of shifting the boxes, putting them in place, and then I'm putting something heavy like an acrylic block. That's typically what I use for things like this. And just holding it down, holding it into place. I did all of the tree assembly first because I wanted my tree to be completely secure and all together before I started embellishing. I did this very much assembly line style until I get to doing the numbers, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that when we get there. Again, just adding dabs of glue to this. If you felt more secure, you could totally use hot glue. My hot glue gun is on the fritz. I need to get a new one. Otherwise, I really might have considered using it, especially for this step. So little bits of glue. You can see I am not didn't do a neat job. None of that's really going to be seen. And here's that final box that's going to be the tree topper. Now, for my tree topper, I wanted to do something to really make it stand out and look like a tree. I grabbed the Lawn Fawn Puffy Star Stackables. I actually haven't used these in a long time. I used the second from smallest die cut it from gold glitter cardstock 4 times, scored it down the center to help make it easy to fold in half, folding it towards the glitter side. And then I'm simply going to glue these together to form a dimensional star that I can glue to the top of my tiny box tree. And it just adds a lot to the design. I found it really fun to go back through my Lawn Fawn products and find dies that would complement the advent calendar. These are the kind of projects that I always find myself going through my stash and revisiting something that is an older product, but it's still fantastic. And basics like stars never go out of style. So I put a little dabs of glue on the little bottom corners. And I've tried to do 3 at first, and that did not work. I went ahead and used all 4. That's why I mentioned 4. So I kind of pulled it apart. I also ran my stars through the Xyron to attach them together because I didn't want there to be any open spots in the stars at all. I wanted them to very much have adhesive all over the back. And this was a great way to do it. You could use stick-it adhesive sheets or other types of adhesive sheets if you wanted to get similar results. Maybe put it on the back of your glitter paper before you die cut, and then you can adhere them together just like I did here. So I'm going to put little dabs of glue on the bottom points of the star and glue those in place. And I wasn't sure if it would work, but surprisingly enough, they glued perfectly, and once dry, it dried completely clear. So super excited about that. Now, the other product besides the tiny gift box that makes this advent calendar so successful is the Celebration Countdown stamp set. It is a stamp set full of numbers. not only great for advent calendars, but you can use these for birthdays and other types of celebrations, maybe anniversaries, all kinds of things. But I am using it to go ahead and make embellishments for each of the little boxes. Now, not all of them will have numbers. I would say the majority does have these numbers, and they are all gold embossed with the Lawn Fawn gold embossing powder. They're either embossed on vellum, cream cardstock, or the champagne glitter cardstock. The rest of the numbers were die cut using the FINLEY'S numbers, and were die cut from a combination of gold foil cardstock adhered to fun foam with Stick It, so they're dimensional numbers. I wanted a mix and match of styles all throughout, and I tend to go overboard. I really like my projects like this to be very detailed and very full, for lack of a better word. So there are numbers of some sort on the front of each box, of course, for the advent calendar part of it. But then there are embellishments on the sides of all of the boxes using all kinds of things. I'm using the Lawn Fawn mini snowflakes, the Lawn Fawn mini wreath. I'm using the bow from the tiny gift box, the star from the tiny gift box. Even from the large wreath die collection, I'm using the greenery portions of this to add little sprigs here and there on the sides of the boxes. And on a lot of the snowflakes, especially the larger ones, I'm adding wood veneer stars that I have had in my stash for years. On top of those, they go nicely with the theme of the tree. Now here's a little tip for adhering bows. When I assemble these little bows like this, I put glue and then I pinch them with tweezers until the glue dries. This keeps it really nice and tight and helps with that bow shape so much. So anytime I had a bow here, and I did two different kinds of bows. I did the kind of flat style bow from the mini wreath die collection, and then I did the dimensional bow, which is the one I was just assembling. That is from the tiny gift box. As I mentioned, all of these little pieces, this is the little scallop circle from the tiny gift box, were stamped with Versamark ink, all of the numbers were, and embossed with gold embossing powder. This just kind of lends itself to that beautiful gold look and feel. Now, on all those little scallops, I am a huge sucker for Nouveau crystal drops, and I think they add a fantastic finishing touch. So I'm going to go around those with little drops of the Nouveau crystal drops. Now, I thought I'd use the glitter, and it did not work. So I'm using pale gold. This is one that I have used many, many times. I very much recommend squeezing it out on a scrap piece of paper or a non-stick craft sheet like I'm using here before you bring it to your project, in case there's any air bubbles. You don't want it to splatter all over. This is also where I want to mention that instead of doing assembly line style, which I could have, but it would have taken a little bit extra pre-planning, I worked my way from 25 down to 1. And I did this because it helped. I wasn't sure which design I wanted to do on which box till I got there. I didn't want two designs to be next to each other, if that makes sense. So I just kind of worked my way. I had die cut a whole bunch of snowflakes, stars, and all those little extra pieces, which were great for filling in. But as far as the actual number and what I chose to do for that, I did those individually, working my way down from 25 to 1. And that way I was able to really kind of make sure the tree was nice and balanced. Nothing was right next to each other. The same design wasn't right next to each other. And I could fill it in as needed. Here's another example of that bow using the Ranger Multi Matte Medium this time. And I'm just using little dabs of glue, popping those snowflakes in place, adding another little dab of glue, adding wooden snowflakes. If it's this teeny tiny snowflakes, I'm adding a Nouveau pale gold crystal drop to the center. Very easy embellishing. It's just a little time consuming getting it all filled in and looking the way you want it to. You could do this with any color combination you wanted to. I think it would be amazing in red and green. I really do, in the traditional colors. Like I said, I just wanted to try it in an elegant look. I always think it's kind of fun to take Lawn Fawn products and do something elegant with them, because you might not necessarily think elegant. And it's always just a really fun kind of way to challenge myself. I'm going to finish adding little snowflakes all over here in between each of the boxes. And here is a slowed down look at the box, or the little box tree, all the way around, so that you can see what it looks like all finished. And the star on top. So cute, so fun. I cannot wait to use this with my family this year. Thanks for joining me today for this elegant cream and gold tiny box tree advent calendar. The supplies I used to create this project are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos featuring Lawn Fawn stamps and dies that you might be interested in. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.